Hi, so today I'm doing something really exciting. I'm coming on to share my birth story with you all. I have given birth to my little son, and his name is Kaden. You guys to find out a little bit more about how my experience was and some of the things that I went through as I was in labor. All began August the 8th, 2014, of course. I went in that night at 8 p.m. and I got a Foley bulb installed. What that is basically, it's a more natural way of getting your body to begin to start to dilate. Because I was only 1 centimeter when I went in, they were going to induce my labor since I had not delivered, and I was about, by the time he came, I was 5 days late. With that being installed, basically what it ended up doing was it causes your cervix to begin to dilate or open up, and it also brings on contractions and simulates them like your body would, and that would for me cause some great pain because once that bulb was installed, and what it is basically it's a balloon that goes in you, and they put some vials of water in it. My husband says they put like, I think it was 3 vials or something, and the contractions are really intense. I had a hard time sleeping that night. I did use a heating pad, and then the next morning when we got up at 8 to go to the hospital, the bulb had not quite fallen out, so they wanted to see like it do more of what it was intended to do, which is basically dilate. The doctor comes in a little bit later on, and she checks, and she finds out, she was like, well, let me just check, and she finds out that it is in fact fallen out, and she takes it out, and then she checks my cervix, and she finds out that I am 3 centimeters, I think 4 centimeters, my husband says, dilated at that point, which, you know, you need to go to 10. So I had a good while to go. While I was waiting for the Foley bulb to work, I had gotten my IV started, and they had fluids going into me. I was checked for my blood. I had some blood tests run and things like that at that point. Then I also got a Pitocin drip started once the bulb was taken out, and they would put 2 milliliters at a time every half an hour. The lady was asking how my contractions were going and things like that, because the Pitocin does induce and bring on contractions, because that's basically what it's designed to do, is to induce my labor, which is why I was there. So anywho, I wasn't feeling the contractions for a long time. So once I got to about 24 to about 36 mils of Pitocin being dropped into my IV, at that point I was going through, at that point I was definitely in a great deal of pain. I'm laughing now, but it was not fun at all. So I was laying there on the bed, of course, and I was just deal with the pain, so I was like clenching my face, and my husband's like, what are you doing that for? And I'm like, shut up, Michael. You know, and it was just pretty funny because he didn't understand like what I was experiencing, but I was just trying to deal with it the best way that I could. And at that point I was like, okay, so I'm ready to get my epidural, because they were like, just let us know, you know, when the contractions get too bad, you can well, they get unbearable, basically, just let us know. Once you started prepping and getting another IV bag ready, because I had to have a certain amount of fluids in at that time and things like that, and then she came back and she revealed some sad news to me, and I do mean sad. She was saying that because my platelet levels were not where they needed to be, the anesthesiologist wasn't going to be comfortable with doing the actual epidural in my back, because it could potentially put me at risk for being paralyzed. So needless to say, my heart really broke at that moment, like shattered, because I was like, natural birth. Ain't nobody got time for that, you know. I'm not prepared to do that. So I was just a wreck, and I started crying. I called my sister, and she came, and her and Michael were just talking, and yip, 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 and he was going on, and I was just like, oh, I wish he would shut up, you know. So I was just going through the pain, and I had been there, again, as I mentioned earlier, since 8, and so what happened was shifts changed. So there was some hope, I guess. God was definitely on my side that day. And another anesthesiologist came on board. I got a new nurse and things like that. And so they were like, well, we'll check your platelet count. And basically, by the way, my platelet count was 91. And they look for it to be at a minimum of 100. And I wasn't even at the minimum. But they want it between 100 and 300. And yeah, so he wasn't comfortable. But the new guy, they were like, well, we'll take another draw of your blood. We'll check things out, see how it is, and then we'll go from there. And at that point, I was just really praying that everything went the way that I needed it to go, because I was like, if I'm not getting epidural, then this baby is not coming out. But we all know that's not likely. But so apparently things were looking up a little bit with the platelet count, and this guy was comfortable with doing it. So next thing you know, they have the anesthesiologist come in. I'm sitting on the bed, and then they tell me to relax. They raise it up, and what they do is they're going to put a catheter into my back. Well, they do a needle into your back, and then they do a catheter into your like spine, and it's like a little tubing, and you see it when it comes out. It was like black or something when I seen it, and it is extremely painful, let me tell you. Like, they like relax your shoulders, and Michael comes over, babe, relax, trying to massage your shoulder. I'm like, really, dude? Really? I should just kick you in the balls. But I did it. So I'm trying to relax, and I'm in really bad pain, and they're like, don't flinch, blah, blah, blah. Seriously. So, they insert it into my back, and at that point, the feeling of when that tube goes in is just none like I can really describe. It's just painful for me. It was for me anyway. Once it did go in and everything, fast forwarding a little bit, I was laid back on the bed, and they came in a couple of times to check and see if I was dilated more, and apparently I had started to dilate a lot more. I was at like 7, well, I was at 7 centimeters when I got the epidural. Let's be honest, like, whoa, those contractions were intense. And then next thing you know, I had hit 10. Whoa. And the lady's like, okay, you're at 10. It's time to get this baby out. And I'm like, no, it's not. I'm not ready. And she's like, yeah, you are. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And so she was like, well, we'll do a couple of test pushes. And so what she does is like, well, I will mention that because of how late it was when I got the epidural, or if they didn't want it to be as strong, I could feel like the contractions, instead of them being in my forefront of my stomach, which contractions feel like period cramps, legit, but on a scale of 1,000. And I don't even know if the Pitocin does extra damage, like as far as like causing it to be more intense, but it was just off the wall. They were okay at first, but then they got worse. So when I got the epidural, it was like the contractions, they felt like they were in my butt. I don't know. It was weird. And then I would get a shooting pain down my leg. So I could still feel them, but it wasn't as bad, and I was okay with that pain. So the lady wants to do, the doctor, she wants to do a test push. So basically I'm like, you know, I can feel the contractions, you know, and I didn't really understand like about this whole pushing thing. So, you know, she was like, okay, when you feel a contraction coming on, I want you to bear down and act like you have to go to the bathroom. And everybody's like, Crystal doesn't like going number 2. And I'm like, she's like, okay, bad analogy. But I mean, honestly, that's what it feels like you're doing when you're pushing. So I pushed, I bared down, and then about 6 times I did this. Like once we did a couple of test pushes, she was like, that was really good. Then next thing you know, she was like, I think we're ready. We're ready. And I'm like, no. And she's like, yeah, it's time. So next thing you know, it's like a Vegas show. Big light pops out of the ceiling. Yeah, stirrups come out. It was just whoa. And then like I had my mom and the baby's godmom and my husband and my sister in there. And I'm like, okay, you guys, it's time to get out. And of course, nobody wants to leave. So yeah, all up in my hoo-ha. Okay, I'm like, really? So anywho, about 6 pushes later, after everything is all said and done, little man pops out, and it does legitimately look like he's crawling out. Like the way he comes out was like, so he comes out, and it's just a very like emotional time, because you're like, whoa, that's just the little guy that was in me all this time, and you get to see him, and it's just a nice, peaceful, serene moment for you. So yeah, it was definitely an interesting experience, a bit traumatizing and traumatic, and definitely not something that I'm going to be rushing to do again or ever, if I can avoid that. But I am blessed and happy that I do have a healthy little boy, and I would like to share him with you guys. So he is going to be sleeping because I just put him down, but I do want to share what he looks like for you all. And yeah, so hang tight. So this is my little moo man, and he came out weighing 6 pounds 10 ounces. He's a little guy. Oh, he's so cute. Yes, you are, my little baby. And he's sleepy right now. And he's like, why are you waking me up, Mom? Leave me alone. So, yeah, that's my little Booski. And he is growing. He's already gained. He lost some weight in the hospital, which they expect them to lose no more than 10% of their body weight. So he went down to 6'4" while we were there. And then he picked back up the weight. By the time we went to a couple of appointments, we went to the doctor. He had went back up to 6'6", and then when I went to another appointment, he had gained, he was a full 7 pounds. So that is really good. He's doing great. I am currently breastfeeding, and if you're interested in me talking about that a little bit, I'll be very happy to. Right now, I am just doing strictly pumping. I was doing actual latching and things like that at the hospital, but now he's a little finicky with that, so I've just opted to just pump, and he's getting the best milk that he can possibly have at the moment, which is my milk. So it does about it good, right? So yeah, I already have lost I gained 10 pounds during the pregnancy, as you may have known from my vlogs if you followed those, and I've lost the 10 pounds already. I'm doing great. I personally am healing. I did have to get 4 little stitches with a little bit of tearing that did take place. So I got 4 of those, and they have, I think, completely healed pretty much. I don't feel the burning sensation that was going on originally with them being down there. I did have a water bottle to use, which I currently still use because I am a little bit afraid when I go to the bathroom that it's gonna burn. So I'm like, hold on, let me get the water bottle out. So I'm definitely using that still, but I have noticed that I don't feel that sensation anymore, which is really great. I hope you guys enjoyed my birth story. It was kind of short and sweet and to the point, and I hope you guys just find that helpful. Find out about those different things that took place and that can happen, and all I can say is my personal advice is just be ready for anything, and you can do it. You know, you're a woman, you're strong, you're gonna get through it, and you'll make it out of there. So yeah, thanks again, bye.